Hello, everyone. You are joining the Mira Costa High School College Band and Color Guard College Panel Talk. I'm asking all the non-panelists to please turn off your videos so we can just have the screens of the panelists on. Welcome to the college talk. I'm Valentine Asidao. I am a band dad. I have 3 kids. My eldest daughter, Sophia, who is part of the panel today, is just recently graduated from college. She was a band member all 4 years of her high school life. She played trumpet in the beginning, and then she played bass horn and trombone as well. I have 2 other kids in high school. Sebastian is a part of the band. He is going to be a junior. He has a twin, Eva, and Eva decided that she will focus on her Jazz One participation. And so she will not be part of the band in her junior year. I will be the main moderator, and my daughter Sophia will be my co-moderator. This is the college panel talk, so I'm just hoping that we'll just have a conversation in general about your experiences as band and color guard members. Also, we'll have some conversation about the college application process, and also for those who are already on campus to have some conversation about maybe your musical experiences in college. Sophia, do you want to add anything as an introduction?
Just to say hello, welcome everyone to the panel. Yeah, I hope that you all have a good time listening to us talk about our college and college application experiences. Yeah, welcome.
As part of Sophia's duties, Sophia will be the person to lead the question and answer segment of this talk. So we can start with the question and answer segment now.
Did you want to introduce everybody first?
I do want to introduce everybody first. Thank you for joining us, the panel members. We have Michael Sinai, who is at the University of Maryland. We have Sydney Weisberg, who is at Smith College. Next is Dylan Williams, who is at UC Irvine. Rachel O is at Willamette University. Luigi Salvaggio is at the University of Washington. Max Simpson is at Loyola Marymount University. Sophie is at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, correct? Yes. And Armand is at the, how do you pronounce your school's name, Armand?
It's Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, RPI.
Thank you. And Max Hughes is at UC Riverside. And then I'll have them give a general introduction of themselves. Let's start with Armand.
Hi, my name is Armand, incoming sophomore at RPI. A math and computer science major. Played euphonium in high school. What's up, guys?
Thanks, Armand. Max Hughes.
Hi, I'm Max. I'm going into my freshman year at UC Riverside, and I played jazz bass in high school.
Sophie.
Hi, I'm Sophie. I go to Cal Poly SLO, and I'm an animal science major, and I played French horn and mellophone in high school.
Max Simpson.
Hi, my name's Max. I'm an incoming sophomore at Loyola Marymount University, and I'm a current double major in political science and music. And in high school, I did marching band, concert band, jazz band, and I played saxophone.
Luigi.
Hello, I'm Luigi. In high school, I played percussion, and I am a rising freshman at University of Washington, Seattle.
Sophia.
Hi, I am a recent graduate at Oberland College and Conservatory. I majored in creative writing and minored in English and music psychology.
Rachel.
Hi, I'm Rachel. I'm going to Willamette University. I'm going to be a freshman, and I did color guard.
Dylan.
Hi, I'm Dylan. I am going to UCI to study jazz performance, and I played drum set in high school.
Sydney.
Hi, I'm Sydney. I'm a rising sophomore at Smith College studying computer science, and I was in color guard in high school.
And Michael.
I am going to be a freshman at University of Maryland. I'll be studying computer science. And in high school, I played oboe and saxophone.
So welcome, Kathy, Carolyn, Sean O, Gail, Lizzie, Iggy, Diana, Marlo, Tina. We'll start now with the question and answer segment of the panel talk. And I'm going to turn over the moderating to Sophia.
All right, cool. Yeah, so our first question here, I wanted to ask how being in band and color guard benefited you as a high school student. I know for me, it helped me with like time management, gave me a really solid group of friends right away, and then just generally helped my like work ethic and motivation to succeed in my studies alongside my participation in the music program. Yeah. Anybody who wants to start, feel free to unmute yourself and talk.
I'll just start by saying it's more of a social thing for me, being in band. Made a lot of friends that I still talk to this day. Shout out to Charlie Michael. But yeah, mostly just friends, and also just having something to do every day that was fun.
Yeah, I agree with Armand. My application process was not very included with band because to get into the Cal States, I don't know if it's changed this last year, but for my year, you didn't have to put in any of your extracurriculars. It was just grades and necessary information. We didn't even write an essay. And so for me, it didn't end up helping me that much for college applications, but it was still something that was fun to do every day that I enjoyed.
I actually did not do marching band my freshman year, so I kind of got to experience the difference. And I remember I feel like I had too much extra time my freshman year that I was just didn't really have anything to do. So it definitely helped with time management. And also, as everyone else is saying, it's like a really nice group of friends and people you can be around that have like a shared interest in music. And it's a really fun experience.
Kind of ditto to that. Color Guard gave me a really amazing opportunity to meet so many different kinds of people. And it was such a supportive, collaborative place for me. I really just felt included there, and that gave me a really positive experience throughout my high school.
Well, awesome. Thank you guys for sharing. I definitely agree. All right, question number 2. How did BandGuard, what role did BandGuard play during your college application process? Like, did you feel like you had too much on your plate? Did you feel like you had a good balance of spending time in like band or marching band, especially versus like having enough time to work on your applications? Did you have people help you who were in BandGuard? Did you mention band and your color guard in your application? Just was sort of how did band influence your college application process specifically?
Well, for me personally, actually, Sydney really helped me with my application. She graduated the year before me, and she was the only senior in her class, but she was applying to a lot of small liberal arts schools, which is what I was looking for. So she really helped me like narrow down my college decisions and what I wanted to do. So I don't know, that really helped me. And then also with like doing guard almost every day throughout the week, it didn't feel super overwhelming just because I really enjoyed doing guard, and like it was okay. You were able to handle it.
I would say, as I mentioned, for Cal Poly, band didn't really influence my application process at all. But for my other colleges that I applied to, because I applied to Common App and I applied to UCs, and all of those take extracurriculars, I tried to make it a main focus because it was something that, I did for 4 years and it was a very big part of my life. And it was nice to be able to talk to people that were applying as well, because, there were a ton of people in my same year that I could talk to about college apps and see where they were at with it and like how they were writing their essays, if they had college counselors, all of that stuff. And it sometimes helped ease my worries and sometimes made me worried that I was super far behind of everyone, because I was like, oh, I haven't written an essay yet. Oh, I don't have a college counselor. But in the end, it was fine. So I think people just need to stress less.
Yeah, I like briefly talked about band in like one of my essays, but it was like for the Common App essay, there were like 3 of them. I talked about band for like 1 or 2 of them, of the 3. I guess it helped because like half my friends are band friends or band kids, so I guess it helped a lot for that, because I guess RPI looks for band kids and orchestra kids too. So
I would say for my college application experience, band definitely played a major role. Like, just because band was my major extracurricular in high school, it definitely helps to be able to put on to your application, like all sorts of things that band gives you, like community building and teamwork and learning how to like better yourself in a positive way, et cetera, et cetera. And I feel like that was definitely a major factor in getting into college.
I think, oh, do you want to go, Michael?
Go ahead. You already started.
At least for Smith, something I've noticed is that Smith tends to look at people who fit sort of the vibe of the school and are like creative, group-oriented people. And having color guard on my application, even though I didn't say write an essay on it, having it on my application showed that I was a person who would fit into this school. So I think that was actually impacted my experience and my acceptance greatly.
I do remember first semester with marching band, senior year with marching band and all my classes being a little harder than like any of my other semesters, but marching band was the place to go to like, I mean, while it was a lot of time, it was also a lot of fun. So it took my mind off of a lot of the stress that semester. And also in my application process, I was able to put marching band in a lot of in up in a good amount of my application because I mean I had leadership positions and it's a big extracurricular for me. So it went on my application and it probably helped.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I know for me, same thing, marching band was like, and band in general was just like a big escape from the stress of college, that college application process. I think I definitely talked about, not in my main like college, what is it called? Essay. But in a lot of my like short answers for like the UCs, I talked about my band experience and just in general, showing colleges that you are able to commit to something for a long period of time, especially if you do it for like all 4 years, shows your dedication and also your, I suppose, like loyalty to something that so it shows that you're really passionate about something and are able to stick through it, and shows colleges that like you're not just going to quit halfway through, that you really do care about something. Yeah, that was awesome. Thank you guys. All right, so question number 3. Yeah, just what, I guess, going off of that, what sort of advantages did band give you in terms of being accepted into college? Like, do you feel like if you hadn't done band, your college application process would have gone completely differently? Or do you think it would have been generally the same? Just continuing this conversation from the previous question.
I would say that doing band gave me a bit more confidence when it came to applying to colleges, because I would be talking to some of my friends who didn't do like some long 4-year commitment thing like I did, or like they weren't in some fun extracurricular that they were super interested in, like art or ceramics or something. And they would be talking about how stressed out they were, that they felt like they didn't have anything for their college resume. And I didn't have anything for my college resume really, that, especially nothing that was focused on what my major is. And so having band was kind of a nice thing to be able to lay back on, being like, okay, you know, I did something, I can calm down, it's okay. Like I have something that I can put on there instead of just like twiddling my thumbs and writing an essay. So it kind of gave me some more confidence.
What about Dylan? We haven't heard too much from you. What was your experience like with your college application process?
So for me, the problem was for my college application process was that I was trying to go to college for an instrument I started the year prior, and people that go to college for instruments don't typically do that. And so I had to try and accelerate that process. And the biggest thing for me was understanding that in order to get accepted to a college, it's not, you don't just go down one path. There's a lot of different paths you can take. For me personally, I was kind of a B average in high school. My grades weren't great and I didn't have a whole lot of story to tell. But the way that I got into UCI was by spending the last 2 years of my high school playing in Jazz 1 on the instrument I was trying to get into college for. And then Max and we made a combo and we went out and played throughout the city. We did our own thing. And I had to learn to adapt to that own environment. And really, that was the biggest thing for me in terms of band helping me, was playing with that combo allowed me to understand what playing with a combo is like, what it takes in order to be able to play a tune, take solos for a minute and a half, and then be able to present myself. And so I took all that and I realized, oh, I want to go to a UC. And the problem with that is I just don't have the grades for the UC. I did high school wrong for 2 years, so to say. And so what I did was I went and got a college counselor, not the CCC. The CCC is great, but they are not there to help you personally. They're there to help a lot of people. So I would recommend getting a college coach that is personally for you. And then what I did was I reached out for all the schools I was applying to. I reached out to professors that would accept me. I reached out to all the drum professors and I went and took lessons from them, and I went and saw shows that they played. And so that's what allowed me to get into college, was taking that alternate route of taking lessons or going to these shows of the people that were going to be accepting me into that college. And so, sorry, I went on a little bit of a tangent here. The advantages was just being able to develop myself as a musician and being able to learn what it was like to play, and being able to have a program that would allow me to, in 2 years, be able to play some amazing music and get into a college program.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Arman.
Okay, thank you. Also, just to add on to the college counselor thing, the CCC is also very helpful with finding that kind of stuff. So if your family can't afford a personal college counselor, always reach out to Ms. Robles in the CCC. She's extremely helpful.
Yeah, that was both really super helpful. I wanted to speak a little bit about Dylan's point about just there's so many different paths that your college application process can take. Like, I know for me, I did apply to a lot of UCs, but I was also looking at things outside of just like the UC Cal State program. I've said this is my third time doing the college panel. So sorry if you are in the audience, if you've heard me say this before, but my biggest advice when it comes to the college application process is not to let Costa tell you what to do. Like California high schools want you to go to a UC or a Cal State, and that's just not for everyone. I know, like, my best friend went to a UC and they said that they would have preferred to go to a small liberal arts school, but they felt like they had to go to a UC because that's what Costa teachers and the Costa CCC told them to do. So it's like, you know, it's different for everybody. Really just do your college research on your own, whether that be with your family, with, you know, friends that you have who have gone through the college application process, or with a specific college counselor who is specifically, you know, looking at your interests. But really think about like you and what you want, not what like your parents want. Sorry, all the parents out there, not what your parents want, not what your teacher's telling you to do, or even sometimes not even what your counselor's telling you to do. Like, just think about you and what you want to study. Like for me, I literally looked up good colleges for band kids, and Oberland was the first one that came up. And that was in my sophomore year of high school. And then from then on, all I did was like research about Oberland and schools like Oberland, and then I ended up choosing Oberland, and I had an amazing 4 years. Like, it was, I couldn't see myself going anywhere else. And yeah, so just that's my biggest advice. Like, really think about the different paths and try to get as much information as possible about different types of people and what different types of people did, just to figure out which one is best for you.
Yeah, I did the same thing. So because I was looking very specifically for an animal science program to go pre-vet. And so shockingly, the number of vets does not reflect how many animal science programs there are in the US. It's a pretty scarce program that you have to be very selective with which colleges you're going to be applying to. And so what I did was I continually looked up best animal science colleges, best animal biology colleges, best zoology colleges, and anything that would allow me to apply to vet school in 4 years. And so then I ended up seeing Cal Poly was one of the best ones. UC Davis is one of the best ones. Cornell's one of the best ones. I didn't apply there because I didn't want to go all the way to the East Coast. But honestly, again, that's also something, was I applied to colleges mostly in California and the northern US. So like Wisconsin, Michigan, what have you. And it wasn't until I got accepted in some of those colleges that I realized I wanted to stay close to home. And Cal Poly was the closest to home that had one of the best programs in the country. And so that was the choice I made. And I'm loving the program so far. Like, I think it was the right choice when it comes to that.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you guys for sharing. All right, so number 4, for those who have already experienced college, how has band and guard influenced your actual like being on campus, being in classes, college experience? You know, for example, I know that a lot of you are actually music majors or are, you know, pursuing studying music. But just in general, everyone, like, have you joined a band or other music activities in college? How do you feel like it differs from your experience in the music program at Costa versus your music program at your school? Have you met people in college who also went through a music or guard program in their high schools and like were able to connect with them through that? Like, I know I would say all except one of my like closest friend group that I made in college were all band kids. Like, it was just, I didn't even know that about them until like a lot of months into our friendships. And it was like, oh, of course I'm friends with you. You went through band, you have the same like work ethic and, you know, social ideologies as me, just because we have that like band high school culture is very specific. And when you find other people who share that, it's wonderful in a big, scary place like college. So yeah, I just wanted to hear about other people's experiences actually being on campus and how band has influenced that.
I would say I definitely have a similar experience to So, where like getting to college, especially I didn't start with a double major in music and political science. It was just a single major in political science and then a minor in music. But that definitely helped develop like my friendships, just because like going to these music classes for my minor, like I kind of realized like, oh, like, you know, people say like college is such a big and scary place, but like it's really easy to, for me at least, obviously other people have different experiences, but for me with music and like going into the music aspects of my college, like it was really easy to find people to connect with. And like one of my best friends at college right now is a music major with me, you know, just because like it was so easy for us to connect just because we have that similar experience in band.
Of a different experience being in color guard and going to sort of a small college. You don't really see a lot of those bigger organizations you might find at high school. So there is no color guard at my high school. But what color guard did allow me to do is get more into the performing arts. So I'm part of a dance organization at my college, and a lot of the skills I picked up in color guard applied my dance in college. Additionally, I've also met a lot of people at college who I can talk to about guard. And for me, what's really important about that is kind of the little things. It's really fun to have someone you can talk about, for example, like talk about the world guards, the world-class guards, and kind of rave about their shows. It's really fun to have those people and find those people in college who you can share the little moments with.
I would say I haven't gotten very into music and band at my college because for my freshman year, I wanted to take it a little easier and I wanted to not join band because it's a big time commitment. It's always gonna be a big time commitment. And marching band especially, because my school has a huge marching band and they're all really good, and that's super intimidating for me. And so for my freshman year, I didn't want to join it because even though I knew I'd probably meet some friends in there, I knew that if I joined, all of my friends would become marching band kids, which there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, almost all my friends in high school were marching band kids, but I wanted to be able to branch out a little more. And so I don't think that's a bad thing to have not joined band. And so if anyone's freaking out and thinking, oh, I need to join band, I need to do exactly what I did in high school to make the friends that I did there, I don't think that's the case. I think that you can sit back, choose what path you think is right for you. You're probably going to hear a lot of your friends from band and marching band being like, oh yeah, I'm totally going to join band and marching band next year in college. And if you're thinking, oh God, why don't I want to? I need to, I got to do the same thing. Then that's not the case. You don't need to do that. You don't need to join band or marching band to be happy and have a good experience in college.
So of course I'm not in college yet, but I am doing marching band, and I've actually gotten to well, I haven't met anyone really in person, but I've been able to they have communicate they use Discord as their communication platform, and I've had questions about college and I've been able to ask them stuff. So I mean, I haven't really experienced it. I know it's not as big of a time commitment as Costa's marching band, at least at University of Maryland, so that's good for me. And yeah, I'm excited to do it. I have the equivalent of band camp starting a week before, and I don't know how it'll be, but I'm excited to see how it is.
Yeah, also like for me, I did join Oberland's marching band my first semester of my freshman year, and Oberland is a relatively small school. It's about the same student population as Costa, which is small for college, and it just wasn't, it was great, and I still have friends from that experience that I still am in contact with, but it definitely wasn't it was all student run, so it wasn't the like big, competition marching band that Costa has. Like I think for me, I obviously had a wonderful time while I was at Costa, but I didn't really appreciate it until I was out of it, because I was like, oh, that was actually a very like unique, like the quality of the Mira Costa band music program is so unique of like high school music programs. So I didn't really appreciate how lucky I was and how like much I learned until I was out of it. Yeah, and like Oberlin, it has its own conservatory. I was not initially in the conservatory until I became a music psychology minor. But I was not required to go through any ensembles, so it was definitely like a completely different experience. And I realized, oh, like I actually had a really awesome time and was really lucky to have that time when I was in the ensembles and marching band, etc., and orchestra at Costa. Anybody else want to speak on this topic? Okay, cool. So number 5, more general, moving away from like band specifically, how did you pick the college that you wanted to attend? Like, what were your criteria? Also wondering how many schools you applied to. I applied to 14, which I know is like a lot. I feel like when I say that, people are like, whoa, that's a lot. But I also have heard people have applied to like 20 or more. Yeah, just how did you whittle it down to one? And what were the criteria that influenced that?
I can go ahead and start. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, Armand.
You're good.
What I did was I sat down and I said, you know what? I really want to do music. I want to pursue jazz further on. And then on that road, there's kind of 2 routes. The first is going to a big university with a music program, and the second is going to a music conservatory like Juilliard or Berklee School of Music. And I decided to only apply to I only applied to UCLA, UCI, and Cal State Northridge. And the reason why is because they had incredible jazz programs, and they were large schools with degrees that I could use. And the biggest thing for me was large school, because I doubted myself, and I still do. Maybe I'll get to UCI and go, you know what? I really don't want to do jazz. I love it. I'll do it for the rest of my life, but I don't want to get a degree in it. I'm not going to become a professional. I'm at a UC school where now I can transfer over in pretty much any program I would want to pursue. And so I wanted to have a focus, but also be able to have the option to switch anytime if I wanted to.
Right. So yeah, I applied to I think nearly 30 schools, which is a lot. I think that's the number. I have to double check. I know it's in the high 20s, but I basically just based it on like their computer science and math department. So like I like looked online with my parents and I was like, oh, this one's good. This one's good. I like this one. And also because like I know people who've gone to RPI before. Like my dad, a bunch of my dad's friends went. So that's how I know about it. And also just I picked RPI because of the rigor of the programs there. I think some of my fellow panelists know my horror stories of staying up like 50 hours straight doing computer science assignments. But they're fun. Don't worry. Not to scare any of you guys. They're fun. But like just staying up for like days, like that's just like the vibe here at RPI. It's like it's up there in like rigor, and it's like people barely pass classes, and it's crazy. So
I would say, as I
So-
mentioned,
Oh, go ahead.
I would say, as I mentioned, I just Googled like best animal science program, but I didn't know that I wanted to do animal science until like pretty late into the game. I had already made an initial like college list of just kind of, it was essentially random colleges that I thought sounded kind of fun, or like I had Googled photos of the campus and I was like, oh, that looks pretty. And then I realized, oh, I think I want to go with like my original idea of what I've ever wanted to do was become a vet. And so then I had to go through it all over again and make a giant list of colleges that would let me do that. And the list was about probably like 14 to 16 colleges, I would say, that I applied to. And the way I decided which one to go to was which ones I got into. And so once I had received a lot of my accepting letters and like, stuff that said I can't get into college, whatever, I realized I wanted to stay close to home. And so my top schools were UC Davis as number 1 and Cal Poly SLO as number 2. And I didn't get into Davis, and so I decided to go to Cal Poly SLO. But I would say, if you're not sure what you want to do, look for colleges that allow you to switch, like Dylan said, because like if you come to Cal Poly, it's super hard to switch your major. Like they're difficult with it. Like you're able to, but it's a whole process that you don't want to go to. And so if you're not sure what you want to do as your major, look for colleges that allow you a lot of flexibility when it comes to changing your major. And make sure that the program that you apply for initially, whether it's undeclared or something specific, allows you to switch, because I know a lot of colleges, if you get into a very specific major that you're not sure if you want to do, they just don't let you switch at all from that major. So make sure that you do your research on which program you're doing and what college you're doing it at.
Yeah, sorry, one quick thing to add on to that I should have mentioned is that it is totally okay to be unsure of what you want to do in college. Really, it is completely fine, because I was 17 when I decided what I wanted to do in college. Whoever thinks the best decisions come when they're 17 years old? And so it is totally okay and valid to build a college application process around being unsure and wanting to have as many doors open as possible. It is totally okay to do that.
Yeah, I definitely got lucky with LMU. Like, of course, I did some research, but the whole switching your major thing at LMU is super easy. Other than like film, which is their top rated major. If you have any other major, all you have to do is fill out like a 3-question Google form, and all of a sudden you have a completely different major. Like it's very easy, which makes life not stressful at LMU, which I really like. And another thing I wanted to add, which like my college application experience was probably the complete opposite of Armand's, where he applied to 30 colleges. By the way, you don't have to do that. That's crazy. I think that's crazy. I applied. No, I don't. I highly don't recommend it. Sounds terrible. I applied to 1 college, which also sounds crazy, but I mean, it doesn't have to be this terrible process where like you're stressing yourself out and doing these all-nighters and you're writing like a million different essays because like you need to get into this awesome college. Like I initially thought like, wow, wouldn't it be cool if I got into UCLA or USC or blah, 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 just because they're like big name schools. Like a lot of people don't know LMU, and like I'm really happy with my decision because ultimately I like found LMU. I was like, wow, like I didn't realize, but after looking at LMU and researching more about LMU, like I kind of found that this is way better fit than like any like other UC I was looking at, or like USC or other big name schools, and I figured, well, like it looks like I have a pretty good chance based on what my college counselor was saying. So, I gave it a chance and I got in. So, you know, don't think that this whole college application experience has to suck, because it didn't really suck for me. So that's just my story.
Yeah, also like we don't have anybody here today, but they're definitely like a lot of my friends did the El Camino path, where they went to like, El Camino. They didn't know what they wanted to study and really wanted to have time to figure it out. Went to El Camino for 2 years and then, was able to go through that program and pick what other school they wanted to go to, and went through that for like their last 2 years of their college experience. I know some people who didn't go to college who are my age and are, like artists or whatever it is that they're doing that they felt like they didn't have to go to college for. So it's definitely like there isn't one path that you have to take. It's about what you want to do, what you want your life to look like, and that's also again allowed to change. So just because we're everybody's going immediately into like a 4-year, right, everyone, like doesn't have to be the path that you take.
Yeah, I want to really stress the community college path. When I was applying to schools, I had the mindset of like, yeah, people always say community college is a good path, but like, it's just not for me. I don't want to do it. But looking back, if I knew what I knew now, I probably would have gone on the community college path, because it is such a good option. People are afraid that by going to a community college, they're like not going to get a job, or they're not going to get into another school that they want later on, because it's like, oh, community college isn't impressive or whatever. But first of all, that's not true. And second of all, most like graduate schools and companies don't care where you went to school, they care where you graduated from. And it needs to be stressed. And I'm out here at Cal Poly doing math and English classes that I just don't want to be doing, because it's just a requirement to graduate the school. But if you do a community college path, then you have 2 years where you can try and figure things out while breezing through your GEs that you have to get done to be able to graduate. And then when you go to the college that you really want to go to for the next 2 years, you're able to just focus on your major and just do the things that you're interested in, instead of having to cloud up all of your classes that you're doing with stuff that you don't genuinely want to be doing, and it's just like a space filler. So I would really stress that the community college path is such a good option for people if they want to do that.
Yeah, like to add on to that, there are like plenty of like amazing programs that various universities have for community college. Like one of the most famous ones being the Trojan transfer at USC, right? 2 years wherever, and then you go into USC. And I know on the college panel last year, we had Stefan. I think they were talking about how they went to El Camino for 2 years, and now they're at, I think, Yale. So I mean, you see like people like make these terrible stereotypes that like, oh, like you go to community college, like you didn't do well in school, like you weren't good enough for 4-year college. But no, like really listen to what Sophie just said. Like it's like an amazing path, and there's nothing wrong with it, and it's just as good as going to any 4-year university.
Yeah. Just one more program to add on to that is the TAG program. The TAG program involves every single UC school except for, I think, UCLA and UC Berkeley. And basically, if you just go to a California community college and you check all the boxes that are needed for it, you are guaranteed admittance into a UC program. And that is an incredible thing. And that was my backup plan. I always wanted to end up at UCI. And my thought process was, it's a shot in the dark to see if I can get here. And if just my grades weren't good enough or my story wasn't good enough, I'm going to go to Elko, or I think I was Pasadena City College is what I was looking at, for 2 years and then transfer over there. I still end up at the same place. And so really, I can't stress community college is an incredible option if you want to go down that path.
I want to add like 2 tips that I forgot to say. So one is going back to Stefan, who goes to Yale now. If you really want to go to one of these big name schools that has a really low acceptance rate, like Stanford or Yale or Harvard or what have you, community college is a great route because a lot of the times acceptance rates will go way higher for community college transfers than it will for people that are applying straight out of high school. And so if you think that you don't have, the criteria to get into one of these giant name schools, community college can be a great way to have a higher chance of getting into that school. And also, this doesn't have to do with community college, but if you want to get into one school and you don't want to do the community college route, but you think that you're not fully able to get into it for like the program you want, because acceptance rates are different for the major that you're choosing. So like you'll Google, UC Irvine acceptance rate and it'll be like 30% or whatever. But that's just the average acceptance rate for each major that they do. So like at Cal Poly, the overall acceptance rate is it's like 29 or something. But for my major, I think it's like 40%. And so I had a lot higher chance of getting into Cal Poly than someone with like an engineering major, say. So if you want to get into a college, but you don't think you can get into it with your criteria, Google and search whether or not the college makes it easy to transfer majors, because you could apply to a college for the major that you don't want to do. And then when you get in with a higher acceptance rate for that major, transfer over to the major that you want to do so that you're able to get in, but not on the major that you wanted. And then if you transfer, you'll be able to do it nonetheless.
Also, you can consider grad school because grad school is cool. I know it's more studying, but it's always an option. And also because community college is cheap. So that's another route. So grad school or community college for 2 years if you want to go to a certain school.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to take up too much time, but I can talk a little bit about the post-college experience. I know, like, if you're in high school, that feels like a million years away. But yeah, like I said, I just graduated from Oberland in May. So, like, this summer has been such a whirlwind of me trying to figure out what I want to do with my life. So yeah, just thinking about also, like, what you want to do post-college while you're doing the college application process is like, maybe don't think about it too much, but it definitely is still a consideration. Like, after you finish college, that's not just, your life isn't just over. Like, you have to think about, okay, if I study this thing, how is that going to benefit me in the future? Is it really going to be, am I really studying something that I feel like is helping me professionally, helping me, with my identity, with personally, with what I want my life to look like? All of those things definitely do come into consideration. And once again, it's different for everybody. So don't just do something because somebody else did it. Like, to really think about you, what you want to do with your life. And yeah, take those, prioritize that above everything else. Yeah, so last question here. We already talked about how doing school and college applications together, like what that process looked like. So our last question here is going to be, what advice do you have for band or guard members who are getting ready to apply for college? Just any sort of general advice.
I could, you got it, Louis.
Thank you, Max. To speak to the people who are applying for music, the audition process is real. It's a whole nother beast. I would say reach out and get help if you're in percussion. Kevin was probably one of the biggest factors in my whole college application. If you have a private teacher, reach out to Carlson or Park, someone who is gonna know better how this works, is gonna know how the professors think, is gonna know how music college works. It's invaluable. So yeah, that's what I would say.
I was gonna say, just don't stress in the slightest. I mean, things are going to happen when they happen and if they happen. And that's just life. So if you don't get into the university that you really, really wanted, you know, you might go down a better path and meet different people that end up being, you know, even better than people you would have met at the other university. So it's just kind of like let everything happen and don't freak out about I have to do this or I have to please this person. You'll be fine.
Yeah, I would say my biggest piece of advice would to be just to calm down. Because I remember when I was doing college apps, I was freaking out like the whole time. I was so stressed out and I kept procrastinating things. And I was like, oh God, I'm so far behind. Because senior year came around at the beginning of it. And I would hear about how people the whole summer were practicing writing their college essays, or they had asked their teachers for letters of rec back at the end of junior year, and I hadn't done any of that because I was really pushing it off for as far like as long as I could, so I didn't have to deal with it. But all that did was just stress me out more. And so I would say if you're going into senior year and you haven't, you know, asked your teachers for letters of rec and you haven't written any essays and you're telling your friends about that and they're like, oh God, you got to get on that or else you're not going to get into college, you know, just calm down. Okay. You're not too late for anything. You're going to feel like you're always behind, but it's not the case because really to apply to college, there's three things. The essay portion, which people stress about too. I would say for that, you're going to Google this and you're going to see this and it's going to be everywhere, but don't be generic because when I was applying to UCs, I wrote the most generic essays in the world. They were all like, oh, you know, I overcame this and I did this, and it was just boring to read and nobody wanted to listen to that. But when it came to Common App, I had kind of stopped caring at that point, and so I just went with it. And I just wrote an entire essay about how I was kind of a dumbass in middle school and high school and how I've matured since then. So I told stories of like the time I accidentally spit a mouthful of water on the art teacher and she yelled at me and various things and how I've matured from that. And so I would say do something that kind of makes people read it and either laugh or think, wow, this person is kind of interesting. They're not one of these generic people that are writing an essay about how they overcame their, you know, anxiety, which of course do that if you want. But I would say a lot of people are going to be doing stuff like that, like sports injury or, you know, oh, I wasn't good in this class. And then, you know, I pushed myself up and I did better. Like, yeah, those are great essays, but they're not going to get you attention from college application officers. And so that's one. And then two is just filling out generic information. And then the third one is getting letters of rec, which not all colleges require, but some do. And so mine, I only had to get one letter of rec and I didn't end up going to a college that even required it. And so it's really just those three things that you need to do. And so people think of college applications and they freak out thinking that there's so much that has to be done. There's so much they have to do because it's months that you have work to do. But in the end, it's not that much work. It's mostly just tedious filling out information, like what's your social security number and what's your parents' tax bracket. But in the end, all you have to do is write an essay, get a letter of rec sometimes, and fill out some BS information. And then you're set to go, okay? And also, people always do early admission. Like you'll be talking to your friends and they're gonna be like, yeah, I'm doing early admission because I want to get a better chance. But I did not do early admission. I remember talking to all my friends and they were all doing it because they were set, they were ready. I was stressing out and I was procrastinating, okay? And so I ended up writing my essay 2 days before the application was due in January or something. And I got into a lot of the colleges that I applied to. So calm down, take it easy, don't freak out, and don't listen to other people and what they're doing because it's going to stress you out.
Max, you go ahead.
Go ahead. No. Oh, you sure?
Yeah, it's fine. I can let you go
Okay.
ahead first.
I mean, I was gonna take like 10 seconds to say like other Max and Sophie like covered everything I was gonna say. Like it doesn't have to be like, to emphasize again, it doesn't have to be this terrible, awful process. Like Sophie said, the worst part is the essay. And if you stress about it unnecessarily, it'll be stressful. My experience, I got it done in 30 minutes and then I had my college counselor proofread it. We went over it in 15 minutes and then I submitted it and then I got it. So, and you know, like Sophie said, keep it light, keep it fun, keep it about whatever, right? Like there's a past college panel that we did where I don't know if anyone knows, but Lily Chang's daughter talked about how like she was like freaking out about her essays, and then she was like, I'm just gonna talk, like my essay is gonna be about me sitting on this couch freaking out about this essay. And then she got into university. So, it doesn't have to be a terrible process. The worst thing is the essay. And if you can make the essay fun and interesting to yourself and maybe interesting to the college admissions officers, it's completely fine. Fill out the information, send it away. And also emphasis on the letters of rec. If you get it from Mr. Carlson, don't expect it until 2 days before you turn it in, because I asked him, God, was it September? I asked him in September of like when we first started school. I asked him in September, hey, can you write this letter for me? He's like, yeah, sure, I got you, man. And comes time to submit it. It's like 2 days before, and I walk in his office. I was like, hey, did you write it yet? And he turns, he's like, no. So then he banged it out and he sent it to me. He's like, sorry, it was so late. And I'm like, oh, thanks. And I got it in. So, it's like, that was probably the most stressful part for me, was waiting for the letter of rec from Mr. Carlson. The essay was easier than waiting for Mr. Carlson. So keep that in mind, please.
Okay, so 2 points. The first is letter of rec from Mr. Carlson. If you want to get a letter from rec from Mr. Carlson, here's the way I did it. I wrote my own letter of rec and I sent it to him and said, Mr. Carlson, here is so I asked him for a letter of rec, and then there was the waiting. And so what I did was I wrote my own letter of rec and I gave it to Mr. Carlson. I said, hi, Mr. Carlson, hope you're doing well, all that stuff. Be very nice, because he's doing you a massive favor. And I said, here's just a sample letter of rec that I wrote. You could use it and edit it, or you could write your own. I just wanted to give you something to help out. And what he did was he took it and he added some embellishments, edited a little bit, and then put his signature and sent it back to me. And so I know that people do that all the time for letters of rec. And so do not be afraid to do that. That's totally something that you can do. And the second thing I want to mention is, yes, the college application process does not need to be a big, scary thing, but there's going to be a bunch of bureaucratic nonsense you're going to have to do. There's just a bunch of paperwork and all that stuff, and it's going to suck. And so the biggest thing I want you to just keep in your mind is that assume that you don't know what you need to submit. Assume you don't know anything about anything, okay? Because there's so many like tax papers that you're going to need, so many different things. Assume that you don't know everything. And so once again, I highly, highly advise you to go get a college coach that is personal for you. For me, I knew I wanted to go to music. And so Mrs. King, Trevor's mom, advised me to go speak to Trevor's college counselor, and her name is Trisha Craig. We met over Zoom, and she helped me more than I could pay her back for. Trisha Craig is amazing. If you're looking to go into music, I advise her, but get someone that knows the game, because college application process, it's all just a game, and you need someone that knows the rules to it and is able to help you understand the rules to the game. So go assume that you don't know what is going on, and then do everything you can to try and remedy that.
Also, I just wanted to say that even though the college application process for seniors is a really big part of what you have to do in the beginning of senior year, also don't let it take away from your senior year at Costa, because just really try to enjoy it, because it's your last year, and make sure you are able to make the most of it. And don't, again, people have said this, but don't freak yourself out about the college applications, and really try to enjoy your last year at high school.
I have two really quick pieces of advice. First, really, when you're looking into colleges, try to find where you think you're going to fit in. I go to a small liberal arts college that's all women, and that is not what everybody wants. But it's for me, and I am really happy where I am. Reach out to students who go to colleges you're interested, ask about campus culture. Students, I promise, are more than happy to share about their college. And my second piece of advice is to not get bogged down by Costa's college process. Someone mentioned earlier, but Costa really pushes the Ivies and the UCs. And while those are absolutely great options, and those are some people's for everyone, it's okay to go to a small college. It's okay to move to a different coast. Just find your fit, find the place you're going to belong, and that's where you're going to be happiest.
Yeah, for sure. Completely agree with everybody. My biggest advice is be annoying. And what I mean by that is like what Dylan was talking about, like what everybody's been talking about, use your resources, like be persistent. Don't just, I mean, this is good advice in general for life, but like, don't just sit there and wait for opportunities to come. You have to be the one that is proactive, and you have to be the one that is, you know, reaching out to people. For an example, for what I did, I literally found the guy who at the time read all the incoming freshman applications. I literally found him because he was the guy who, he came to Costa, I believe, and talked to me and a few other people who were thinking of going to Oberland from Costa. And like, I got his email, and I ended up seeing, before I even turned in my application, I think I ended up seeing him 3 more times at like prospective student events in downtown LA. And like, he would be like, I remember you, I remember you, I remember you. So when it came time, he was literally the guy that read my application and admitted me. Like, you try to just, you know, just reach out to even the admissions people, like form relationships with them. Like Dylan was saying, like find professors, form relationships with them so that they can, you know, advocate for you when you're applying. Like, just use all of your resources, be annoying. I forgot what the term is, but like the more that you show your interest, the more likely it is that somebody is going to accept you, because you're showing that you already have a loyalty to the school, to the institution. If that's really the school that you want to go to, just like, yeah, just be like, it sounds hard, and it's sometimes hard to be motivated, but just like be annoying. Let yourself be annoying. Okay, yeah. Was there any last things that people wanted to say? Those were all of the questions.
Oh, actually, I was gonna respond to that one too.
Yeah.
So I do know that beginning of senior year, first semester of senior year, that's probably going to be your hardest time throughout high school. But as Rachel said, try to find some time to enjoy it, but also make sure, well, yeah, along with that, make sure you find a balance between working on your college apps, doing your schoolwork, and having fun. And I think marching band really helped with that, as I said earlier. And also, I guess this is more something that happened to me. Be careful about if you're considering early decision, because I applied for early decision into Boston University, and fortunately I didn't get in because I found out afterwards that University of Maryland is a better computer science program. But it worked out really well for me. I got into their guaranteed transfer program, and I feel like things in college just seem to have a way of working things out, and you'll probably be happy wherever you go. But make sure you've like really researched not just the school you're applying early decision to, but also the other schools you're looking into before you apply early decision. Because if I got into Boston University, I would not be able to go to University of Maryland. I'd be forced to go to Boston University because of how early decision works. And yeah, I mean, I've found out that for me, University of Maryland is a better school. So, and now, well, I mean, I guess this just worked out for me. I have the option of transferring next year automatically because of because I got into their guaranteed transfer program. So it works out. It worked out well for me, and I'm sure it will for all of you, even if not the exact same way.
Sorry, just a quick addition onto the last thing So said. Colleges love when you show interest, and it's not every college, but I believe some, if not most colleges track if you are taking a tour of their school. And so I know that UCI didn't, but I think Cal State Northridge did. And so I took a tour of their school, and it's just another way of showing interest. So if you're interested in a school, highly advise taking a tour of it, just in case there's a chance that they're tracking that. And that's just another little star that they're going to put on your application.
Very last thing I wanted to say, if you're taking APs in high school with the intention of those fulfilling college credits, make sure that the college that you are intending to go to takes them, because Oberland did not take any of my 4 APs, and I had to retake. I did general theory and AP music theory in college or in high school, and I had to retake basic music theory in college because Oberland did not accept my APs. That's the only thing about the college application process that I regret. So make sure, I know it sounds strange, but make sure that if you like before you even decide to take an AP in high school, make sure that the type of college you want to go to will consider it. Like, I'm pretty sure like UCs and Cal States take them, but like for me, taking APs in high school was just like simply not worth it. And I had a very, very successful college experience despite like not doing super well in like AP Chem, for example. So like APs are not all they're hyped up to be, in my experience. So just before you take any APs, really consider about that. Yeah, was there anything else that people wanted to mention before we do our sort of audience participation part? Okay, cool. Well, thank you guys so much. That was a wonderful Q&A session. I am going to hand it over to my dad for the next part.
Thank you for that insightful discussion. We're going to open the event now to questions from the participants. If you have any questions, please use either the chat message or the Zoom hand to let us know that you have questions to ask our panelists.
Yeah, if you go to reactions and then there's a like function to raise your hand, that can, yeah, that's what you meant by Zoom hand, I'm assuming.
Yes. Or if you just have any questions, and you can just go ahead and raise them, please feel free to do so as well.
I'm not seeing anybody asking any questions. Are you guys? Okay. Well, if nobody has any questions that they want to ask us, do you want to do the conclusion?
Yes, if we don't have any more questions, I'd like to thank the participants for attending, and also I really do appreciate all the insights and the sharing of experiences by the panelists. I wish you all well in college, but have a good time in college. I think that was one of the significant things about Sophia going to her college. It wasn't just about going to school, but about meeting new friends, widening her horizons, seeing all the other interests that she can have. So good luck, everybody. And thank you again for coming today.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.